We are live. This is the market update. I am your host, Bill Noble. So, what are we going to talk about today? I say we go back a little bit and use the fireside chat tradition. First of all, there's despair in the market, right? The market rallies, it comes back off. Everyone's looking at the Fed. Everyone's looking at this. Everyone's looking at that. The orange man talks about crypto. It doesn't move. There's bullish headlines. It doesn't move. And people get discouraged. Now, just on a personal level, if it's happening to you, trust me, it's happening to me. I'm just looking at this going, oh, God, I'm so tired of this. Now, that is exactly the way it looked in 2022 and 2023. And it paid to stay bullish no matter how many times they smacked it, no matter what they put out there, no matter what. Now, I do think, to change the subject a little bit, I do think the problem with the market is that this meme thing went bust, right? Because the meme thing went bust, the casino got closed, and now either everybody lost money or there's nothing interesting in it for like the small fry, so they're out. Okay. Who's going to bring back the meme narrative? It will come back, but who's going to bring it back? And I think it's pretty simple. Discussed it briefly yesterday. It's going to be AI. There is no AI trade in crypto. And I continue to believe that this crowd out there that's talking about NVIDIA accounting is going to wind up getting through. Now, let's talk about another thing, and let's be realistic. The idea of a serious geopolitical situation in the Middle East is real, right? In the past, it's been noise, but, this time the market is looking at it and going, well, the orange man took $200 million for his campaign from people who are interested in conflict over there. It's a fact, right? There's a lobbying group that owns everybody in Congress except one guy who, believe it or not, the orange man severely criticized and it backfired. Okay. So there are very powerful influences out there that want conflict. So if there's anything negative holding the market back, I think that's it. Not tariffs, not inflation, not all this blah, 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 blah. It's probably the geopolitical stuff holding the market back. Now, as I've been saying for a while, even though the administration is popular and they're endorsing crypto, which is, of course, good, we have more news on that. At the end of the day, they have their interests at heart, and you got to have your interests at heart. Now, what is in your interest? I don't talk about that very often. Like, hey, what is in your interest? And it's a very positive thing. It's prosperity, right? Like, what's the counter to all this incessant negativity? Prosperity. How do you get prosperity? Stocks? Bonds? I wouldn't even put old people in bonds. It's like if you were in legacy, you had some old person or some person like 2 years away from retirement, you stick them in bonds. I was like, why would you put anybody in bonds? That's crazy banana pants, right? It is. Because if Uncle Sugar had to do something like bail out the banks or, I don't know, starts a geopolitical conflict and has to print money to fight somebody, oh, that's crazy. Now, I hope rates come down. But again, what is in your interest? Prosperity. And believe it or not, I actually think, the administration does want that for you. I don't know if they can make their donors happy and get prosperity for you, but I think that's why they're out there bull posting crypto. They're out there like, hey, how do we get money in people's pockets? How do we do that? And I don't think people understand that. I don't think people get it. On one hand, their behavior is their behavior. They're bought and paid for like everybody else. But for you, they're relying on you to find a coin, whether it's Bitcoin or whatever you understand or like. It could be ski, whatever. Find a coin and get involved. Like, they want you involved. And the thing that's funny, kind of, is that people seem to be afraid to get involved. They're wounded. They're tired. They don't want to do it. Listen, anything worth doing in the beginning and even in the middle, in the end, sucks. Like if you're running a 200-mile race like David Goggins, that pretty much sucks from beginning to end. There's nothing fun about that. Nothing. People can start off and be like, yeah, let's high five each other. Yeah, let's all support each other. Yeah, okay. And once it goes past a regular marathon at like mile 30, yeah, that's not fun. You got 170 miles to go. Nothing fun about that. Nothing. But at the end, you get a participation trophy at your end, 200 miles. You win in the end. And I'm starting to think with crypto, it's exactly the same thing. We're running the 200-mile race. And in the meantime, we may not be having as much fun as we'd like to. But if you stick around, something good can happen. Now, I've also got something today about antivirus. Some really, really interesting stuff, right? Really interesting stuff that somebody is working very hard to fund the project. I'm like, oh my God. In a world where there's limited things to talk about, and we do have things to talk about, but especially XRP, but in a world where there's like limited things to talk about and people trying to limit human freedom, they're out there fudding and shorting us at 4 million market cap. I'm like, oh my God, they gave us something to talk about. So some very interesting stuff going on. Not a boring show. Not. Now, if you may not be having fun, but things are about to get interesting. All right. Let's welcome who's here. We have Carmenko, we have Warmon, we have SGSG. Welcome. Redhead Detective, Yav, a loyal viewer. Roby, Thomas, Tango, right? Can you just stream all day? Bro, you know what? If I could, I would. If I could, I would. Jow, Hornet, Vanessa, Stefan, good morning. Happy Friday. Diogo, Andrea, what's up? Okay. Wow, let's get to this. You guys are like, I have to figure out how to get all this together. So you guys get the hot take first. Let's see if I can explain all of this. Okay. So let's start at the beginning. So recently, the head of the Antivirus project, who I actually got on a plane and met and hung out with for 6 hours, along with Janice McAfee. So I would DYOR and I would know who he is, was recently on Rice Crypto. Okay. So Rice Crypto is, he doesn't have a lot of followers because he's super edgy, right? Super edgy guy who I've met, like the guy, like him, really, like he's aggressive. Okay. So he had the head of the project, Josh, the founder of Antivirus, the guy who I met, who I spent 6 hours with, who showed me, how to use their privacy features, how to get the eSIM card on his phone, how to get the gift card on the phone. He appeared on Rice for an hour and a half. Now, Rice was a skeptic. He's a skeptic. So Josh went on Rice and they talked about it for an hour and a half. Interesting. Now, after that, Janice Janice McAfee, who's been making this circuit, right? Talking to whoever will talk to her about the project. Remember, Janice is famous, right? That's John McAfee's widow. Okay. Keeping in mind, Antivirus, in case you don't know, is a privacy app attached to a meme coin. That's how I explain it. The meme is John McAfee's been brought back from the dead using AI. He's talking. He's got a podcast. There's a chat bot where you can talk to him. Now, it got kicked off Twitter because they didn't know how to handle a dead guy coming back to life. Never mind a dead guy that would criticize the system, Silicon Valley, and who knows what else. Who knows what else? Because John McAfee passed away under very suspicious circumstances after running from literally everybody, just so you know. Everybody. So Janice, who lived through huge danger, huge. Now she's talking about the project. She talked to me. I did an interview. I was first. Yeah. So she does a podcast, with this person. Let's see who this person is. So she does a podcast. They hang out. They do their thing. All right. And she's out there in California talking about the project. And then, lo and behold, this character appears. So after a YouTube show, after Janice, who's as legit as it gets, by the way, so is the founder. This character, look at this. He writes a Twitter article. He writes this whole article about who Josh is, the head of the project. Look at this. On and on and on and on and on and on. This is written by an analyst who probably works for an agency, right? Like, there was a time where McAfee tweeted that Josh was an idiot and called up Josh 2 days later and said, "Hey, man, just kidding." This is a joke. It was a joke. But of course, it's a part of the article. It's a part of the FUD. I mean, this is like a PR organization. Look at this. It's like a term paper in college. This was written by an analyst. Who does the analyst work for? I don't know. Is he the intelligence community, maybe? Who doesn't like John McAfee and Antivirus? I saw this morning. I'm like, oh my God, they just gave us something to talk about. Like, BitBoy's trying to borrow the narrative, right? I don't know if you noticed, but BitBoy's like kind of attacked every influencer that knows him, except me. Because I've been like, hey, help this guy. I'm a super supportive guy. So he hasn't attacked me personally, but he's trying to kind of rug the John McAfee narrative by claiming he knows who hurt John McAfee. And if he did, he wouldn't be around. He wouldn't be around. I'm just saying. Because Janice told me the story about it. Anyway, this fudster's out there. Okay. Because again, John McAfee, the people who are after him they're the scariest people on earth. And I know that because Janice had to hide with the second scariest people on earth to protect her after he passed away, to the point where she doesn't want to mention who they are. So out comes the fudster, and look who's following the fudster. So we have John McAfee's ghost, who's been giving me a hard time in Twitter, although he's been polite. Okay. And the other two John McAfee projects, which, by the way, one or two of them was actually created by Josh. And let's just say with those two projects, there's a lack of development and a lack of progress going on. Like, basically what they kind of do is they created it and it just sits there. And BitBoy, it whacked was, a narrative where John McAfee got a tattoo, and BitBoy has copied that, thinking that people are after him. But it's weird. Not weird. I mean, it is weird that antivirus competitors are cheering on this massive fudster. Because again, I went to meet the guy in person, and that's why, and spent 6 hours with him. this guy helped create these projects. And I wonder who's running these projects and why they're not out there with us, with Antivirus, trying to be like, yeah, let's go. Like the only one who's going, yeah, let's go, John McAfee, who's big enough, is BitBoy, followed by me. So they fudded the project. Why are they fudding the project? Why are they afraid of a $3 million coin? It's got a $3.7 million market cap. Who's afraid of the coin? Somebody is. And I love that. I love it because they have to FUD Janus too. Janus's credibility is impeccable. Okay. So congratulations to whoever this is for giving me something to talk about. Because if you're FUDing a $3 million privacy app and you're an intelligence service, I'm going to run you out of town. So whoever's out there doing this, congratulations. You're going to meet Bill. You're going to meet Janus. You're going to meet everybody. They are afraid. So this is a guy that likes to quote John McAfee. I expect the U.S. to act soon in order to silence me. I want you all to know that everything I have done for the cause of freedom. I want a world in which authorities discover crimes, not manufacture them, a free world. This guy's been brought back to life, by the way, and everyone hates it. Think about it. 3 million market cap. 3 million market cap, and I'm texting these guys. I'm trying to get on a plane again. I'm going to get on a plane again. Now, meanwhile, back at the crypto ranch, China is terrified that Trump's tariffs could break them, and they could. They absolutely could. The orange man is like, you're going to clean up whatever I tell you to clean up, or I'm just going to break you. Because their economy is in tatters. Their stock market's flying because they are indiscriminately printing. They literally, and I'm serious about this, they can't print enough money to save them. There's not enough trees on the planet. They can't print enough. They're going to have to hand out these boxes that they had at these U.S. government agencies where you can just push a button and pay your bills. Money out of thin air. Right? Scary. Scary how much money they're going to have to print. If they do the tariffs, right, they're going to have to print even more. In other words, ironically, the orange man may do the tariffs and everybody may have to print to save the Chinese. Everybody. Because the Chinese can't go down. They would take the whole system with it. Like everybody. So, okay. Okay, guys. People think the tariffs are negative. Tariffs don't make sense in an economics book. But if they do tariffs, it's going to force them to print more. Now, meanwhile, back at the ranch, UFC fighter Conor McGregor, possibly one of the most popular guys in the history of sports, just met with the orange man and is now running for president of Ireland. Now, if you got to have a UFC fighter come and run for president to save your country from total insanity, not only do you need privacy, but you need Bitcoin. You need it. Because there's people out there that don't like you. There's people out there that don't like Conor. He's got himself a lawsuit like the orange man does. Same thing. Same thing. Michael Saylor is back with the 21 Truths of Bitcoin. You know, the problem with this guy, I continue to believe, is it's all by he's lonesome. I understand Bitcoin is decentralized. I get it. I get it that there's no Bitcoin headquarters. I mean, there is with strategy, even though I'm not a fan of the new logo at the top. But this guy needs some help. He needs some help. I would love to help him, right? Somebody put me on stage at a crypto conference. Anybody know anybody at crypto conferences? I can get on the stage. Trust me, I can do it. I don't talk like this often, but I did something at a crypto conference in Vegas with like 50 retired people in the audience with Charlie Shrem. I got off the stage and Charlie said, that was the best presentation I've ever seen. Put me in, coach. I'm ready to play. If anyone's out there, you know, I'd go out there as myself. I'd go out there as Kaizen. I'd go out there. Put me out there. I know you can't, but I appreciate you watching the show anyway. Seriously. Put me out there. Strategy announces, Strife. a fancy legacy instrument that Wall Street makes a lot of money selling, which insurance companies, pension funds, mutual funds are going to absolutely hoover up. They're going to put them in ETFs. I mean, Michael Saylor is the market for these type of products. Like if you look at, hey, how's the market doing for these products? He is the market. He is the market. That's how big he is inside this little legacy niche. Now, XRP. Boy, do they love to hate on XRP, huh? Now, except the SEC's dropped the lawsuit. Ripple has no doubt got their PR companies all over this. They got Brad, who's been practicing for TV, unlike Vitalik. They got Brad out everywhere talking about this. Ripple has privately traded stock. They're going to IPO for sure, especially if the equity market can stop pooing on itself. And they want $125 million back from the government because that's how much it cost them to fight them for 6 years. And you know what? They may get it back. Coinbase wants money too. The government may just say, yeah, here you go. Sorry. Because the SEC has dropped everything. They've dropped everything. They're giving you guidance on Bitcoin. They're like, what can we do? And supposedly they're going to confirm a pro SEC guy as chairman. And it's funny because I thought he was already there. The SEC is just kind of doing it on its own. Okay. Well, I mean, these things, the market is looking at them and they don't matter until they do. XRP holders is trending on Twitter. I can wait. See, this is what I mean. This is so smart. Japanese public company Metaplanet appoints Eric Trump as a strategic advisor to help drive Bitcoin adoption. Now, Eric bull posted it at the top. I can't really give him a hard time for that because I kind of did too. But who's out there? Like Donnie T is out there doing everything he can. Michael Saylor's working overtime. Who else can we get? How about AI John McAfee? That's next. Wait until, because this is coming. It's happening where you're going to be able to talk. You'll talk and he'll talk back. You got exponential improvement in these things like chatbots, holograms, and X. Who is helping Michael Saylor? Who's helping Michael Saylor? The Orange Man's helping Michael Saylor, but who's helping them? Like, I mean, I'm in a chat with the crypto influencer community. If somebody could actually organize all these people and get them out there, people might start to believe again. This is the area this is the time in the market when you actually need microphone jockeys like me. When it's going up, yeah, okay, it's good to listen. It's good to find coins. I can help you with all that. But this is when you need people who won't quit, who just won't quit. Do what the Orange Man says, okay? I don't like the geopolitical stuff, but they're going to invest here. They're going to figure it out here. The miners are next. Somebody has to figure out how to get crypto, the whole cryptoverse over here, and over in the Arab world, they're adopting massively because they don't want crypto leaving their country to come over here. They don't. That's not being said, but every day there's a new UAE, rich Arab country coming out with a new crypto thing. SEC confirms Bitcoin mining does not violate securities laws. The Bitcoin halving was 11 months ago. I gave this presentation at MIT after the halving, explaining why it would take 12 months before Bitcoin price really starts to run. That time is nearly here. Buckle up. Very interesting stuff. 82,000 followers. I'm jealous. Very interesting presentation. Bitcoin is a $1 trillion market. Gold is 12 trillion. Art is 18. Gold equities, is 115. Real estate 330. Bonds 300 trillion. Actually, make that 310 trillion with what Uncle Sugar is going to have to issue this year. And global money supply is 120 trillion. And here's a really good math formula explaining why Bitcoin is so scarce. It has to do with the computer science used to create Bitcoin. Can't just create Bitcoin out of thin air. You definitely can't print it. And creating it, even the supply that exists, is very complicated. You don't just go, oh, it's a Bitcoin. It's not how it works. Must-see interview. How private equity is crippling America. Now, this redhead kind of got big on TikTok for a very catchy presentation about how big private equity firms have been getting risky loans that they go out and they buy businesses. And if they can't generate enough money to pay the interest, they liquidate the business. So she's saying Red Lobster and all these places that you see in suburban America are being basically driven into bankruptcy because the private equity firms need to liquidate the business because they can't pay the interest on their super risky loans. And by the way, just in case you're wondering, just like 2008, the super risky loans are being packaged by Wall Street and sold as investment products to big insurance companies and pension funds and all that. So, in other words, there's men behaving badly at Wall Street. Again, right? Again. Now, how big of a problem is this? I don't know. Big enough that she went from TikTok to Alex. Big enough. It's a very interesting narrative that no one's talking about, which is why you should talk about it. So, we talked about, do sovereigns have interest at heart? Your interest at heart? Do banks? Do big tech companies? Matter of fact, I would argue at this time, like if you listed sovereigns, excluding Europe, let's talk about that. There's the Americans, and then there's people in the Middle East, the Europeans, the communists, and then there's the tech companies and the banks. Now, the tech companies and the banks and the group in the middle, do they have your interest at heart? Absolutely not. They want you to eat bugs and disappear. Or they want like some surveillance camera, who penalizes you if you buy too many Snickers bars. Literally, that's what can go on in China. Like if you buy too many bottles of wine or too many Snickers bars, you may not be able to get back into your apartment. That's a little extreme, but yeah, your social credit score is real. They have it. So this is Wall Street, and are they behaving in your interest? No. And when someone figures that out, you're not going to be able to buy crypto. There's not going to be enough supply. It's just going to rocket higher. Now, is that now? I don't know. Is it today? I don't know. Is it May? Possibly. Is it the end of the year? Probably. Right? This stuff is out there, and it should motivate you to dig, looking for stuff to own. So, everyone ready to have their minds blown? Home buyers are not making payments on government loans. A number of folks have been ringing the bell that, I don't know, there's a certain agency in the government that issues loans and nobody has to make payments on those loans. How much of this is out there? How much is out there? I mean, they say we're a scam. Yeah, okay, we have Lazarus, we have hackers, we have problems. We're a scam? We may be the only thing that has integrity because at least we're not necessarily manipulated by sovereigns. Like that's why all coins go all the way up and all the way down. I know there's nothing good about that for you because you own them. But the fact that our market actually can it's like a forest, right? The forest grows up, right? And then, you get a little bit of a drought and then lightning strikes and the whole forest burns down. But then it rises back up again. And this whole thing is not necessarily, especially in the altcoin space, dependent on some sovereign or some tech company to support it. It's actually a free market. Because when you leave it up to the sovereigns, all you get is frauds and scams. It's a fact. You want fraud? It's in the dollar. It's in the dollar ecosystem. The money laundering, it's in the banks. It's not in Bitcoin. It's in the banks. Bitwise CEO says Bitcoin is well on its way to disrupting gold. We think it crosses 1 million by 2029. Okay. Can we get someone to pay 86? Can we get somebody to get it above the 200-day moving average? You know what I'm saying? Like, I get this. I get it. I understand. Okay. Where's the buyer now? There isn't any, right? Except these big players who are undoubtedly hoovering all this stuff up. That's why it doesn't move, right? Like, failed rallies are bad, but you could wake up one day, and this thing could reset itself at higher prices. In other words, if the range right now is 80 to 86, I said this yesterday, this thing can turn around and reset the range from 95 to 85. Crypto Task Force kicks off roundtable. Their job, the good guys in the government, are trying to get something in your hands to create prosperity. Because the only way out of a $37 trillion debt problem, the only way out of the price of things at the grocery store is some metric of prosperity for you. Breaking news from the Eagle King: Ethereum supply on exchanges has dropped to 8.7 million, the lowest since 2015, as DeFi and staking options continue to pull ETH from exchange wallets. I guess ETH is dead. Huh. Not exactly. Not exactly. If anybody figures out a killer app on ETH, you know why ETH is back to where it was in 2015? Because that's when there was all this wah about who's this zit-faced kid making this thing that no one needs. There's nothing to do on it. We're back there again. What's old is new again, and that has happened before in financial market history. It has. Ripple, IPO possible. Senate hearing for crypto SEC chair nominated for March 27th. Interesting. Coming out of the end of the stinky month of March, right? El Salvador buys every day. Like I said, like Michael Saylor comments, the markets become numb to the good news. Ondo Finance, tokenization is just getting started. While adopting for tokenized U.S. treasuries has seen tremendous growth, the total opportunities for the stock market to expand is in excess of 100 trillion. These numbers just... Now, you realize if that redhead, if you have another men behaving badly incident at Wall Street and they can't get liquidity for anything, this is why BlackRock wants tokenized assets, right? BlackRock is just saying, in a constructive way, without talking about what the problem is, hey, we don't want to have to go through banks to get the capital markets. We don't want to have to call Morgan Stanley to do a trade. We want to do it directly via the tokenized asset system. Talked about this yesterday. Huge countries, huge, with unbanked populations, all of a sudden want in. Why? Prosperity. Prosperity, right? Oh, I'm depressed. Crypto sucks. I do this myself all day long. I look at my own YouTube numbers. We had problems with Restream, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, dude, you got to talk about prosperity. That's why these guys want in. Prosperity, right? Bitcoin is a commodity. I can stand here and tell you I think the price will go to 13 million in 20 years. I couldn't say that about a security. You have legal immunity to express your opinion about a commodity. In other words, hey, I can go out and pump my bag even more. Mike can only pump his bag so much. Now he can get out there. Frankly, I think he needs to go from an orange tie, maybe consider an orange sport jacket. I would wear it. I would do it. Dubai Land Department launches real estate tokenization. These guys do not want their crypto industry packing up for America. I'm telling you. And this is going to spearhead adoption because these guys have a lot of money. A lot of money. So I love one area of the country racing us to see who can be bigger. There's nothing to make something grow like competition. Bitcoin bull score has hit a 2-year low. Historical data shows strong rallies can occur when the score exceeds 60, while extending low scores below 40 typically indicate bear markets, according to CryptoQuant. Okay. So the Bitcoin bull score is at 20. Where's it going? 0? We're in a bear market psychologically. We're in a psychological bear market. We are. There's no FTX. There's no crisis. There's nothing. We've invented this in our head. Now, it is showing up on quantitative metrics. I get it. But again, where's the score going? Like, where was the score when this thing bottomed massively right here and right here, right? The score was at 20. Post-flu problem, yeah, 20. Post-FTX, stayed at 20 for months. Months. And then when it was finally over, it was like, whoop. Then people got really bullish at the bottom when smart money figured out that Solana was coming back and there was going to be a Bitcoin ETF. Okay, wait until the real reasons to own Bitcoin that come from the macro world, wait until they show up. Or Uncle Sugar figures out how to start buying it, because Uncle Sugar cannot have a geopolitical conflict and no positive distraction. They can't have whatever it is they want to have without the positive distraction. You can't have negativity without prosperity and borrow $9 trillion. You can't. Just can't. Okay, altcoins, nothing going on here on the Bitcoin 90-minute chart. Absolutely nothing. Like, there's nothing going on here. Solana's below support, right? ETH 90-minute chart, nothing, right? There's nothing happening. Like, you know, you can switch time frames back and forth. Like, maybe if you go to a Bitcoin 4-hour chart, you know, you got good support at 82, and maybe this ends in like 8 hours. That's constructive. I like that. Right? You know, there's nothing going on a chart. Now, someone asked for ski mask dog. Okay. You know, we got Antivirus building a base down here at 4 cents. Like I said, what an excuse to get me on a plane. I just texted them all this morning. Whoever this intelligence service who wrote that huge article is, oh, thank you for the marketing. We got Ben Armstrong and these guys kind of like trying to hijack the narrative. Love it. Love it. Okay, Ski. Look, man, with all these things, right? Somebody has to be willing to pay a higher price. The whole market is like this, right? Somebody has to be willing to get back above 5 cents. That was the prior low. Now, if it does get back above 5 cents, it's going up. This is a 4-hour chart. And I don't think it's particularly good to see it below 40 million, but whatever. You know, I said you can always say that at a certain point, you have to have a bid. And I'm kind of hoping at this point, literally, I know this sounds crazy. I kind of hope it's fart. I kind of hope somewhere in here, there's a new coin. I don't know if it's fart or Truth Terminal. It's got to come up with a new coin, or I would love it if it was Antivirus, right? Somebody get me on a stage. Somebody get Janice on a stage. Somebody get us both on the stage. Fart's got to do something. Somebody's got to do something in the altcoin world. But I refuse to get bearish down here. It's crazy. It's crazy. Like, there's this much room between where these coins are and zero, and this much upside. Just requires everyone to wake up and figure out that it's a bear market in your mind. Fear is the mind killer. What is with the 122,000 BTC we still have and no one to come to the market, or we have the market makers holding the market down? I don't know. I mean, market makers have to hold the market down, right? My colleague calls it an energetic suppression. That's my version of it's all made up in your head, right? I don't know how they're doing it, and I don't know why they're doing it, But I just know that when they're done hoovering all this stuff up, you wake up and it's all up 20% in one day. Period. I mean, hopefully it's not off an Orange Man tweet because that's not necessarily positive. But you're going to figure out the case for Bitcoin. You're going to figure out, and if we can't figure it out, I'm telling you, some computer is going to figure it out. Some computer is going to look at this market and go, oh, wow, look at this. The humans are all bearish. Oh, let's buy everything, or let's issue everything. Let's get everyone excited. Right? Yeah. Tyler Hall, we need Bill on stage with Sailor. Dude, I'm ready. I'm seriously, I'm ready. I can do it. I mean, my job at Goldman before YouTube, I can't believe I didn't think of this earlier in my career, right? Ian Bellina, to his credit, listened to me for about 2 months. It was like, put this guy on television. I used to go all around the world doing presentations. I used to, they used to send me over there. My boss would be like, no, you got to get 7 presentations a day or we're not doing this ever again. And we would tell the sales force to book the appointments with the clients, right? The big trading funds. And I would go over there and there'd be like 2 appointments booked per day. Nothing was booked. Nobody cared. Then I would go there and show up with the PowerPoint and all this fancy historical stuff that I had, all this really great stuff. Goldman paid all kinds of money for me to have. I'd do 1 presentation in the morning. The salesperson would hear the presentation, pick up the phone. The next thing you know, a limo would be coming with giant stacks of presentations for me to hand out for the whole rest of the day, and the whole day was booked. The salesperson heard it once and was like, oh my God, you got to hear this, guys. There's no FOMO like Wall Street FOMO. And not because I was a genius or because, I don't know. I mean, not that every market call was right, but I just had something compelling to say. Now, of course, in crypto, we definitely have something compelling to say. But that's the way it was, right? I am an experienced good. You don't want to hear from me unless you've heard from me. So the salesperson would see, I would have to be supervised by a salesperson because, up until the end of my career, I didn't have a securities license yet. I was the first person at Goldman who was a contractor to get a securities license. First guy ever. Because eventually they're like, hey, so many people want to listen to this guy. We got to get him a license. I would go to these places, and I mean, in Hong Kong, I almost got sick. I almost keeled over because I did 7 1-hour presentations a day. Somebody on here wants me to be live all day. I could do it. We got to get an IV station. We got to keep me hydrated and fed so I can do it. So if anybody knows anybody at crypto conferences, please let me know. Okay, people, that's probably more than I wanted to do, but that's it. We will see you Monday.